is happening? Hope everybody's had a wonderful weekend. It's the Mondays, man. It's the Mondays. And you know how that means, man. It's just getting through the week. Looking forward to the next weekend. My week is going to be full of travel, which is going to be fantastic. I'm going up to Michigan this week. Cannot wait. And I am super excited to be joined by my longtime best friend in the world for the longest time, man. We went to middle school together. We went to high school together. We really haven't talked too much, man. We've had life, but he's joining me here. He's my man, Mr. Sam Kills. What's up, brother?
What's up, buddy?
Dude, long freaking time.
Yeah, man, it's when you say long-time friends, yeah, I mean, middle school, our first conversation. You remember what our first conversation was about?
Doing a sports show.
Yeah. It was about sports, and here we are 30 years later. Yeah, you were there when my kid was born. I was there when your kid was born. We have been in each other's lives forever, it seems.
Yeah, man, you're my best man in my wedding, and all sorts of stuff, dude. It's been insane, man. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. I mean, we had such a great time, and man, I'm excited to have you here, man. Just talking sports like we used to a long time ago, man.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're talking sports. It's what we've done, spent most of our lives doing. So
that's all we did, man.
Yeah.
That's all we did. And I'm as I said, dude. You know, these guys. I mean, look, I'm 44. I think you're 45. And
November, yeah.
Yeah, and man, we've been doing this for God, all our life, man. And it's exciting to get behind the mic with you, man, and actually do this, dude. I'm super excited.
Yeah, so let's have more than the 8 people sitting around us in a middle school classroom. Let's do a talk sports, man. Next time I come on, though, we are definitely going to coordinate. We will not wear Caps gear together, though.
Together, yes, yeah. Exactly. You do have the West Virginia flag to kind of balance it out,
right?
Man.
Yeah, yeah, got to have that, right?
Yeah, I guess, man. I guess. So, look, man. Enough of the hellos and all that stuff, man. Let's get right into it, man. Man, one of our favorite sports growing up as a kid, man. We used to walk up to the baseball card shops together, man. You used to get the Beckett and the baseball news, man. I still love baseball from the bottom of my heart, man. But, dude, our Nationals really took a pounding, with the Cubs. And, it's time to strip down and the rich get richer, man. And, something that has never happened in Major League Baseball to where 3 major stars were traded on 3 separate teams. And their inaugural night with their new team, all 3 of them hit home runs. Mike Rizzo, Javi Baez, and Chris Bryant all hit dingers their first round to go, man. That is insane.
Yeah, you couldn't script that, but those are three people that have played an integral role for the Cubs. And there's something that your stars. They have to work with the rest of your roster, and they maybe try to do too much. All 3 of them, I'm glad that they were all got a change of scenery, and all of them are going to places with a chance to win this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, Chris Bryant went to the Giants. They lead the NL West. You've got Javi Baez went to the Mets. They lead the NL East. And then Rizzo is with the New York Yankees, who is, I think, like 2.5 games behind the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, which is only a half a game up against Boston. So, I mean, that's going to be a tight matchup in the AL East. And then you got Houston, Milwaukee, and Chicago White Sox leading, and Kimbrel from the Cubs went across town, went to Chicago White Sox, man, and firms up their bullpen. And, man, it's just going to be cool, man. It's going to be cool to see what goes on with baseball, man.
The Dodgers get Turner and Scherzer. And, it slips my mind right now who the Padres got. But I mean, the West, those teams are ready to fight it out. But I wouldn't I don't know if I'd bet against the Giants. I've seen them. The Giants have done this many years. They can put together a team that can win and get them to the playoffs, and they win games.
Yeah, man, I just can't. I can't fathom anybody beating the Dodgers right now, man. The Dodgers, I think, are stacked. With Scherzer, with Turner, and then Muncy, and Seager, and I mean all those guys, man. I mean, Dude, another Turner that they have. I mean, it's an all-star team. I think the Dodgers win, man. I don't think anybody beats the Dodgers.
Yeah, I was looking at it today. Actually, the wild card standings as of today. I think that Boston was leading the wild card, and I can't remember who was in second, but the Yankees were in third. How would you like an AL wild card matchup? One game.
Red Sox, Yankees,
and Red Sox.
That would be a cool thing, man.
Yep.
That would be
Yep.
really
One
fun.
game, and the winner goes on, and loser goes home.
And I hate both teams, but I mean, from a historical standpoint, that would be really, really cool to see for sure, man. Who do you think is your MVP of Major League, man, right now? I mean, who do you think is the standout star?
I don't know. I don't think that the baseball's in this in-between period where they need a big star to jump up, like a if the Mets are going to be the team, one of their kids is going to have to go and be the face of the franchise and say, get on my back and come with me. I get him. So many times the MVP comes from a team that doesn't even make the playoffs. So the NL or the MLB MVP has really lost its luster in my eyes over the last few years.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, let me say this right now. The league is being taken over. I don't want to sound cruel or rude, but non-Americans are taking over the Major League Baseball. You know what I mean? Non-Americans, non-U.S. born, players are taking over, and they were absolutely dominating. Ohtani from the Angels, by far, I think, is the most dominant Major League player right now, man. With between pitching and hitting, I mean, he's astronomically better than anybody else right now. Even his buddy Trout and everybody else, man. I don't see Major League Baseball taking an interest, or people taking an interest, unless American-born players actually start showing up and playing the game. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but I mean, yeah, they are absolutely drawing a ton of fans from overseas. You've got the South Americans and, are coming in. I mean, look, I'm a huge Juan Soto fan. I love Juan Soto, man. I think the world of him, but the overall baseball fan that, from the Northeast or whatever, I just don't think, unless an American baseball player comes to the forefront, man, I don't see Major League Baseball being attractive as a sport like it used to be, man.
You're absolutely right about that. But I love what these Latin players bring. They bring flair, the celebration. It's they have something that's great for the game. But your everyday American isn't going to look at that and celebrate baseball the way that they did, 20 years ago when it was 20 years ago, baseball ran the country sports wise.
It did, man.
Right. Killed it.
It did. I mean, it just doesn't have, I think there's a lot of reasons why baseball is kind of fallen off the map, man. But, we won't get into those because we want to try to keep this all sports. But at the end of the day, man, it's not the great American pastime anymore. I hate to say it, man. You know what the great American pastime is? It's football. It's football. Football dominates everything. And, but baseball is such a great sport, man. It's such a great family sport to go see. And, it's a great sport to pass down from generation to generation, man. I mean, I played baseball. You know this, man. I played baseball since I was like 7 years old, man. And it's a great sport. Just kind of see it where it is today. It's pretty sad, but
my kids are not as interested in it.
You guys are watching, man. What do you guys think in the comments, man? Either come on, I posted a link in the comment section, man. If you want to come on, kind of talk sports, we're here for you, man. And also, what do you guys think, man? Who is your MVP this year for Major League Baseball right now, man? I think it's just I think it's the Angels, Ohtani, man. I think he's just ridiculous, dude.
I wonder how that is going to play out. He's a player who's doing something that hasn't been done since like the 20s when a guy
Babe Ruth.
Yeah. So are fans going to accept that today?
Ohtani, yeah. I don't know, man. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what fans are going to accept, man. I mean, look, here's the deal. Fans today are different from the fans when we grew up, dude. And the reason being is because everybody wants instant gratification. Okay. Everybody wants, like, dude, they only turn in for maybe a few minutes and maybe at the very end to see what's going on. They don't care about innings 1 through 8. They don't care about the science of the sport. They don't care about the art of the sport. They just care about the last scoreboard, dude. And quite frankly, they don't even know watching the games to begin with, because they get their ESPN alerts on their cell phone. That's good enough for them, man. So I don't know, man.
That's. I mean, you can sit down and watch, binge watch Friends for the 14th time, and okay, hey, the Yankees just went up 3-2. Now the instant gratification is really taken away from what the passion of sports, and to sit there and watch something to develop, and with baseball it happens over a course of 4, 5, 8, 9 innings.
Dude, your Reds, you were a Reds fan growing up, man. Yeah. Your Reds are actually hanging in there, man. They're not too far away.
There's a chance there, and I mean, Cincinnati's a great baseball city. Cincinnati's got the 2 sports. They've got the Bengals. Well, okay, they've got the 1 sport. They've got the Reds. So, but the Bengals seem to play there in the same city too. Cincinnati worships baseball.
Yeah,
and if they get into the playoffs, make a run, Giants Cincinnati for the NL pennant, and you'd see some new life being breathed into baseball from a smaller city. It doesn't have to be New York or Boston, or LA or San Francisco.
Dude, I can't talk without the Reds without bringing up Pete Rose, man. Is it time for Major League Baseball to allow Pete Rose back in baseball?
Yes, I've said it since the punishment was originally handed down to him. It was too much, and he says he never bet on his team. Okay, fine, but what he did, I mean, the hit king, 4192, not going to be touched. Suzuki technically has the most hits in baseball when you count his MLB career with Japan, but Pete Rose and the Charlie Hustle, and he played a lunch pail kind of baseball that it ended after him. He deserves his spot in the Hall of Fame.
I agree. You know what? We have somebody joining us. He's supposed to be my future son-in-law, but let's egg him on, man. This is my daughter's boyfriend, Alex McDavid.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? What do you know about sports, man?
A couple things.
All right, talk to us, man. Who's your pick to win the Major League World Series this year, man?
I don't know.
You're fired. Get out of here, son.
All right.
It's not baseball. Try another sport for him, Greg.
Get out of here, son. Anyway, I like that kid, man. But anyway, he's all good. But speaking of Pete Rose, man, obviously it's a shame what happened to him. In regards to him being kicked out, and I think it's time. I think it's time to put him in the Hall of Fame. There's nobody that has better Hall of Fame numbers than Pete Rose that's not in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? There's nobody out there right now.
And if you want to, on his plaque, include in there, his time that he was banned.
How's it any different from the guys who cheated with steroids, man? There's no difference in guys who cheated with steroids. You know what I mean? I think that's more of a greater sin because that was performance enhancing the sport. And really, honestly, steroids, if you want to get right down to the nitty gritty, kept a lot of good players from playing the sport because they weren't as juiced as these other players that got into it, like a Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and all these guys, man. I mean, were they talented enough to make the major leagues without the juice? Yes, because they were great players without it. But as they got older, they had to get a little bit more, bigger and stronger and faster and recover faster, and they just try to get a head start on it. And look, man, you got to be absolutely stupid if you think that there wasn't some kind of most of these guys in the major leagues weren't juiced up. You know what I mean? And I feel sorry for the guys that are in the minor leagues that couldn't get to the major leagues during that time because they weren't on the juice, you know?
That's an interesting way to look at it. But the way I always looked at it, and the fact of with the baseball writers who are keeping McGuire and Sosa out of the Hall of Fame, not voting for Clemens or whoever else played in the steroid era. At the time these guys played, the use of anabolic steroids in baseball wasn't banned, so they were not breaking the rules of the game.
Yeah, but dude, they were taking an illegal drug. I mean, steroids in itself is illegal, and then it is a performance enhancing thing. And I mean, on the flip side of that, so are pitchers.
Right. It just wasn't the hitters getting bigger. No,
Roger Clemens was throwing gas, not because he
what was he 38 and
throwing 100 miles an hour,
still out there on the mound. Yeah. It definitely prolonged his career. But if it wasn't they didn't need to think of it to ban it in the late 90s. Why did it get banned? Because of what it was doing. So if you're just you're NASCAR, if you're bending the rules just a little bit until you get caught,
you ain't cheating, you're not trying, right? That's the
right. And that's kind of a way I looked at it to a degree. But they were doing something to get an edge, but this thing to get an edge was not illegal, but was not against the rules of the game. They didn't break the rule of the game. They broke the heart of a sports writer, and that's why that they're not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, look, these sports writers who are moralists, get over yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I think the worst people in the world, these baseball writers, man, who hold this cloud over their head. And, I think the players who are in the Hall of Fame should vote on the players that go to the Hall of Fame. I mean, let the players decide and the coaches decide, not some stupid baseball writer, man.
Yeah. I'm perfectly fine with giving all let the baseball writers get a vote too, but then the Hall of Fame their votes should be counted.
It shouldn't be the vote though, man.
They do some weird weighted system, and
they do. You have to have like 85 or 90% of the vote.
Yeah, and you have to. Yeah, if you don't get like 60%, you fall off the ballot, and it's just these strange rules, and it's. Put the people on the ballot, vote for or against them.
I agree, man. I mean, they put like 20 players on the ballot, and then these guys have to pick 5. And, I think they get 75% of the vote they're in or whatever it is, man. I mean, it's just crazy. And then the purity of, the fact that, I mean, dude, they voted Cal Ripken not having a unanimous vote in the Hall of Fame.
No bigger travesty.
Absurd. And the reason being is because one baseball writer says he never votes for first-time ballot Hall of Famers.
Oh.
I mean, that's the kind of mentality that these sick people have, dude.
Cal Ripken was he's a Mr. Baseball. He did everything by the book. He went out there and
it's a travesty.
Played his heart out and it's not that he was just some 225 hitter. Oh, that's there's some MVPs that go along with Cal Ripken's name.
Sam, who is your all-time favorite baseball player?
All-time favorite baseball player. I loved Pete Rose. I was watching Pete Rose play when I started playing baseball. Yeah. I saw that and that's how I wanted to play. It wouldn't be a pitcher because they were only out there every 5 days. Yeah. I'm going to vote with Reds colored glasses because I watched so many Cincinnati Reds games.
Yep.
As a kid. Man, all-time favorite baseball player. Pete Rose, just because
that's good. It's a good pick, man. I mean, like you said, he was the old lunch pail guy, man. Brought the old-fashioned game to it. And there's nothing wrong with picking Pete Rose, man. I mean, mine was Cal. I mean, I love Cal Ripken, man. I mean, I wasn't even an Oriole fan, but I just loved Cal Ripken. And I mean, to see him break the 21:52 mark was absolutely spectacular, or 21:62. I'm sorry, was absolutely spectacular. And I cried that night, man, and it was incredible. I have to give Chris Berman some love here, man. I'm not a Chris Berman fan. He kind of gets on my nerves. But what Chris Berman,
we all liked him back then, but
we did. But what Chris Berman did was absolute class, man. You know what he did? You remember that broadcast?
He shut up, didn't he?
He shut up.
Yep, he let the moment play.
Yeah,
it was great. And kids, if any kids watching after this, go and find it on YouTube. The moment where that game became an official game for Cal Ripken to break the consecutive games streak, and watch what happens. And when he takes the lap, I mean, he later said that he didn't plan to do anything like that. It just the moment took over, and that is a fan of baseball who plays baseball giving back to the sport.
Absolutely.
And
it was a magical night in Baltimore, man. I'll never forget that night. Another night I'll never forget, man. It was again during the steroid era. Let's just be honest, man. The steroid era was the best baseball history. I mean, to watch that baseball, it was absolutely incredible, man. But I'll never forget the home run derby between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, man. That was incredible. That was an incredible night.
It was when they were both chasing 61 homers in a season.
Yep.
And McGwire beat Sosa too. And weren't they playing each other that night?
I don't remember.
But McGwire.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure it was, and that was a great night. And I remember that game. And
Mark McComber said the cork bat accusations also. You remember what was it? George Brett, right?
Yeah. George Brett was pine tar. Sosa actually did get caught with a corked bat.
That's right. It was. You're exactly right. Yep. It was because it shattered, right?
Yes,
it did. It shattered. Yeah,
the pitcher found a piece of it.
Then all of a sudden, Sammy Sosa turned into Michael Jackson. Like his color complexion completely changed. What the heck was he doing? What was he taking?
When he was called to Congress, didn't he quit speaking English when he was in Congress?
Something like that, man. Like he completely forgot English. Yeah,
with those guys of that era.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. And then what was his name? Who looked Congress in the eye and basically said, "I did not ever take steroids, and this is a shame." Travesty. Were you here?
Man, I wish I could pull that one right now. Was it McGwire?
No, it was.
Dang.
It was from the Orioles. Anyway,
Rafael Palmeiro.
Palmeiro, exactly. Rafael Palmeiro. That's it. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Mark says, Canseco made that accusation, but you know what? Canseco was 100% right. You know what I mean? Yes. Canseco, I hate to say it, man. He's the one who brought up the steroids and then the cork back stuff. He was 100% right, man. So
and he brought up the steroids, and he admitted to using them. And saying this is very prevalent in baseball.
With steroids, man. Like him and McGwire.
Yeah, and I mean it basically got him thrown out of the league, and he ends up he played minors for a couple of years after that.
And to see where Canseco is now is just a daggone shame, man. I mean, it's just a shame to see, or all of them are. I mean, I mean, you talking about falling from grace, man. Those guys absolutely fell from grace. Speaking of Pete Rose, man. Speaking of gambling and stuff like that, Sam, you kind of broke some news to me today, man. Talk about what is going on in the NHL, dude. Listen, this is kind of being thrown under the rug, man. This is not like major ESPN headline news, man, but this is huge. Talk about it.
So, Evander Kane for the San Jose Sharks. His wife went on to Instagram making some accusations, saying, how can the league let I think she calls him a degenerate, addicted gambler play in the league, and saying that he's bet on games, he's bet on Sharks games, he's bet against the Sharks. And so then, he comes out and of course denies it. It's where you're going to find the evidence of this. I mean, if you're going to get to, pull some bookie out of San Jose who can say, yeah, I took his money or whatever. That's maybe how you prove it. But a lot of it sounds like, things that are happening between a divorced couple, and these things that they're going through, and apparently there's a daughter in who's tied up in the middle of it, and if it's true, it's terrible.
It's awful
that he's doing it. If it's not true, to be doing this to a father, and his daughter will grow up, one day and know that he played, and that if this isn't true and the mom is saying these kind of things, I don't like it being a war through social media. If you've got if you've got proof that this happened, it could have been turned over to the NHL, and then let the NHL handle it. So it's going to be talked about who's right. It's the TMZ side of sports, which that's what turns me off. If it is true and he did it, man, I don't know what you do. I just said how I let Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. He if he bet on baseball, he never bet. Well, he admitted he bet on baseball, but he said he never bet on his own.
I just posted a picture of Vander Kane. He's number 9 for the San Jose Sharks. He plays left wing. He's 30 years old. He's a great player. And, but dude, to throw games or the accusation to throw games, boy, NHL has got a major problem on their hands if that's the case, man. And, of course, everybody's deny. But, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. I'm all about, innocence before proven guilty and all that stuff, man. But dude, that's a major accusation, dude. And that's a major sports story that's really kind of just getting shadowed, man. But that's something to kind of keep your eye on, I mean, look, me and you are NHL nuts, man. We're both Capitals fans. We love our Caps. But if there's some shadiness going on in that league, man, we all need to know about it.
Yeah, you shouldn't. It's a league that's fighting for its relevance among the other. It's number 4.
It can't get a good TV contract, man. It just can't.
They're coming back to ESPN,
which is where they should be, man.
Right. And I think if ESPN gives the NHL the coverage, just a halfway fair shake of coverage, you're gonna draw some more fans. Their deal is interesting. I don't know all the particulars, but Hulu is getting a lot of games.
Yeah.
ESPN, ABC, even. So you're going to put it in front of more eyeballs than what NBC Sports was.
Correct. Now, NHL has a small market problem. And what I mean by that is, man, they're better off. I mean, Tampa Bay Lightning winning the cup twice in a row does not do NHL any good. Now, it's great that they're a franchise and their fans are pretty great. But, dude, their TV market is horrible. And if you don't get the Rangers or the Boston Bruins or the Toronto Maple Leafs or the major teams doing well, dude, the NHL suffers, man. I mean, it's a suffering sport. Those teams have to do well for any of their no. There's no more passionate fan base, I think, than NHL fans. I mean, Sam, we've been to NHL games where you had to fight your way out, dude. Remember we went to Philadelphia?
Yeah, we went to Philadelphia and actually did not put our sweaters on until we got into the building. I will admit that I did that.
And we took all sorts of crap. I mean, it was I remember wearing my Chicago Bears jersey in DC, and I had to fight my way out in 10-degree weather, man. I literally had to throw blows to get to my car.
Yeah. It's the NHL. It's a great sport. It's a beautiful sport. Unfortunately, it's something that plays way better in person.
Way better.
Than it translates on TV. If you haven't been to a hockey game, buy a ticket this fall. Go to a hockey game.
Take your spouse, take your girlfriend, take your wife with you. They will fall in love. They will fall in love. Take
your kids. My kids will not sit down and watch any other sport with me. But if there's a hockey game on, I'm going to put it on and we're going to sit and watch hockey together.
Go to a minor league hockey game. It's just as exciting. I mean, it is. It's a great sport to watch live. It's the best sport to watch live. It really is. Well, moving on, man. We're going to spend the next couple minutes on this. And, man, we'll talk about, dude, Thursday. We have some football.
Football's here. Yes, it is.
August 5th, Thursday, the Cowboys and Steelers in the Hall of Fame game, man. Man, it's hard to believe it's right around the corner, but it's here, man. Again, here's what we're not trying to do. We're not going to bring in the social relevance and all this other stuff about this and that. We're talking about the purity of sports here on this show. We don't want to get involved in all that social crap.
The play on the field. We can break some numbers down for you.
Yeah, man. That's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about, what's on their helmet, not what's on the field. You know what I mean? Painting on the field. So that's what we're going to do, man. And so if you want that kind of coverage, go to ESPN. You know what I mean? But we're going to talk the reality of the sports.
Who's protesting something? We're going to tell you our thoughts on what's going on in the league.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the Hall of Fame game is there. And speaking of the Hall of Fame, man, I've got the inductees. You ready for this list? Give me your thoughts on this, man. The one Peyton Manning.
I've loved Peyton Manning. Indianapolis did something with Peyton Manning when he came into the league. They said, "You're the starter." And as a rookie, I'm pretty sure it was Peyton Manning set the record for most times sacked as a quarterback his rookie season. And so it was a trial by fire. And then from that to NFL Hall of Fame, I love Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning broke my heart, man. I mean, he in 2005 when the Chicago Bears went to the Super Bowl, Peyton Manning was. I mean, look. Devin Hester ran the stupid opening kickoff back, and Peyton Manning just said, it's okay. Great play. Let me throw a 31 board on you, man. One of the great defenses ever, to play the game, and he just didn't care, man. And he's just an incredible quarterback, incredible face of NFL, great personality. But I am so glad I'm not seeing these nationwide commercials anymore with him, man.
Yeah. He's kind of goofy, definitely in that. But if I had a time machine sitting outside and I said, "Hey, we're gonna jump back to 10 years ago, and I've got tickets to a Manning Brady game," you'd be in. Be a great place to go. If I could see one more, if Manning still had it, and him and Brady could go at it one more time.
Over under a half. Peyton Manning says Omaha during his speech.
Over under a half. You're only giving him a half. You're not going to be selling a whole lot of lines for anybody in Vegas. That's got to be. I got to go 3 Omahas in his speech.
3 Omahas. Wow.
3 Omahas.
That's a big time, man. Yep. 3 Omahas. Wow. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if he does that, man. The next one, man, speaking of the Steelers, man, Alan Faneca.
You're throwing him. He must have played offensive line because he's not a name that he didn't sell a whole lot of jerseys. I would say.
No, he didn't, but he was a Stableford man. In Pittsburgh, man, dude. He was a big time offensive lineman, man, and dude, I believe he was close to almost a perfect time of him being in pads and on the field. So I mean, he's just incredible player. Speaking of which, let me just say this, man. If Alan Faneca is in the Hall of Fame as an offensive lineman, there is no reason. Now, I'm not a fan of this team. There is no reason Joe Jacoby from the Washington Redskins, number 66, who anchored the Hogs, should not be in the Hall of Fame. That is a travesty today.
The offensive defensive line, it's not pretty. It's not sexy. You're not gonna turn any game on this season saying, "Man, I can't wait to see this offensive line play." But if you just stop and watch some offensive defensive line play and the gamesmanship and the trickery that those people have to play on, that's its own separate game inside of a game. what
it is.
blocking and rushing among the lines as the quarterback and running back and receivers try to do other things. It's watching great ones do it makes it great.
Yep. Another great, absolute bear killer, Megatron, Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, he's one of your larger than life personalities in the NFL.
But he didn't say anything.
Star power that you see a lot out of your receivers, and I love me some Megatron.
Dude, he retired way too soon, man. He retired at Barry Sanders' age, like 30, or I think even earlier. And he just got tired getting beat up, not having a good team.
Yeah.
The years he put in were absolutely phenomenal. But Calvin Johnson was out of Georgia State. I'm sorry, Georgia Tech. And then, man, dude, came to NFL, went to Detroit, instant impact, made very bad quarterbacks look very, very good. And here he is in the Hall of Fame. But, dude, I think it's a shame how the Detroit Lions treated him. And then, it's kind of like a Barry Sanders story all over again, man. But here he is, Hall of Famer, and doesn't plan to ever come back, man. So
yeah. I think he was in Detroit in those years where Detroit wasn't bad. If I'm right, and
I don't think they made the playoffs with him, not one time.
Yeah, you might be right. But there was a small little window where Detroit wasn't bad. Detroit always plays the 1:00 game on Thanksgiving because it's on. We're watching football, but we don't have to pay attention.
My dad always said, "Never bet against Detroit on Thanksgiving." Never.
Yeah.
But
there was Barry Sanders and Megatron, man, two great for Detroit, and just they didn't work hard enough putting a team around them to make.
That's a shame. That's a lost talent, not having the talent around him to do that, man.
Yeah,
I would love to see him with a good quality quarterback at one time, and be able to see. The other inductee, John Lynch from Tampa Bay, man.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. He was. I think when Tampa brought the pewter uniforms out, that was when John Lynch started standing out, and he's someone who made Tampa relevant. Tampa was the laughing stock of the NFL.
He was a heck of a safety, man. He put a little whipping on you. There's no doubt about it. You didn't come down the middle with him, man. I think him and Troy Polamalu were the two best safeties. Well, I would say this. Brian, what's the guy from the Eagles? Brian. Oh my gosh.
Can't pull the name either. But your safeties who can play like that, hit like that. Put
Brian Dawkins
on camera.
Brian Dawkins,
yeah. Put those guys on camera. You want to highlight the receivers and the quarterbacks. Man, there's some safeties who can play some ball and lay some hits.
Yeah,
and I love that part of the game.
Yeah, John Lynch was actually he was like a tactician on the football field, man. I mean, he was one of those guys that knew how to read the play before the play even started, and I think he's more of a Hall of Fame GM with what he did with San Francisco than him being a player. I mean, my God, what he's doing over there in San Francisco is pretty incredible. So, except for the quarterback, man, you can't. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Maybe they'll figure it out. Teams go forever and never figure the quarterback thing out. Washington.
Yeah, exactly. Another guy, Mr. Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson. That's the
greatest.
That's
and then Green Bay.
Yeah. That's another guy. Some years the NFL really misses it. I think with Hall of Fame players, but man, they're putting this as a class right now. I mean, how would you like to have put these five guys that you've named here right now on a team together? They're gonna win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. And he was incredible. I mean, Charles Woodson was. I mean, again, another. I mean, you put him up on the outside. I mean, he was incredible. incredible defensive back, and played safety a little bit. And remember they tried to move him over safety and got slaughtered a little bit and went back over to DB, and I don't know, man. Last one, Tom Flores. Say what?
Did he spend some time with your Bears?
No. He's
on the other side of the field.
He did spend time with the Bears by intercepting our quarterbacks a lot with Green Bay.
So he did catch passes as from the Bears
from Chicago. Yes,
all right,
yes, he did. And
that's why I thought he played for Chicago. Then.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And then Tom Flores, which is the iconic coach out of Oakland, coached I think 2 Super Bowl teams. Jim Plunkett would be the quarterback when he was coaching. That's a name.
Yeah, and it's so when you've got these guys like Flores, who he probably should have been in the Hall 10, 15 years
ago.
Yeah, and so now you're bringing them up, but maybe it gets the younger fans to look back and see what this game was. How did the NFL get to be something so big? It was guys like him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, those kind of coaches, man. They were the foundation of the NFL for sure. Listen, more NFL news, man. Carson Wentz, dude, down. Now listen to this. How is this possible? This is almost like mask science. Okay. His foot injury. He's yet to step foot on the field. His foot injury is going to take between 5 and 12 weeks to heal.
Yeah.
5 maybe 12 weeks to heal.
Maybe 12. Yeah, it's like you get something to go throw it in the microwave. Microwave 3 to 5 minutes. Well, which one? I mean, so 5 to 12 weeks. Yeah.
So I was listening. This is just Philadelphia for you, man. This is
no. It's Indy now.
No. What I'm saying is, listen to this. So I was listening to a Philadelphia chatter about this, right? So when Philadelphia traded Carson Wentz to the Indianapolis Colts, now he's hurt. Now they're saying the Eagles fans are like, okay, now Carson's still trying to screw us because in this contract, in this trade is Carson has to play 70% of the season. If he doesn't play 70% of the season, then the first round pick that they get back from the Carson Wentz trade becomes a second round pick. And so the Eagles fans are pissed off because they're like, Carson's still trying to screw us. Now he's hurt.
Yeah, but I read about his injury that they were saying like, oh, it's an injury from high school that flared up. I mean, what is he like? 8-10 years out of high school, and it's
as many physicals and workouts and X-rays that this guy's had. Don't tell me that this has been all the way back from high school. Come on now.
Yeah. And they say that foot injuries are those notorious things that a foot injury is like a groin. It can be great in 2 weeks, or you're out for the whole year with it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, I mean, look, Cowboys, Steelers, both teams did not have the best season last year, man. Ben Roethlisberger's coming back, looks pretty decent. Supposedly a little bit fitter, but there's a lot of chatter about that. It's a full of crap because he looks like the same Ben Roethlisberger to everybody. Yeah. You can't deny his talent. He has 2 Super Bowl rings, man. Came out, I think he was the only quarterback in NFL history to make it to a Super Bowl as a rookie, which, you cannot, deny. He's incredible talent. But the question is, dude, can Najee Harris, Steelers running back, take some pressure off of Ben Roethlisberger and have a more balanced offense this year?
This goes back to the thing I was talking to you about earlier. The offensive line. It's what's that offensive line? If they know we got to protect Ben, we got to open the holes for Harris. If that happens, yeah, it can. But the NFL is a passing league now.
One thing I cherish a lot about, I'm not a Steelers fan. I do cherish the Steelers to the fact that they are not coach killers.
Right.
Mike Tomlin's been there. Bill Cowher was the last coach for the Steelers. Mike Tomlin came in. I think he's in his 12th year.
In my lifetime, right? I think the Steelers have had 3 coaches.
Which Chuck Knox, right?
No,
Chuck Noll,
maybe Noel,
Bill
Cowher,
Carr,
and
and Mike Tomlin. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. That's a stable franchise. It's a respected franchise. They don't make haste decisions even when they have down years. It's steady Eddie. Say what?
Like Washington decisions and sound like a Washington or something.
Washington,
I don't know.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
whatever their name is now, football team, whatever we're going to call them. The Redskins, they always be the Redskins for me. But yeah, the Steelers last year. honestly, their offense was okay. Juju Smith-Foster, whatever his name is, whatever you want to talk about. Schuster. Yeah. Juju. Dude, here's what I don't like about that guy. Talks too much trash. Is worried about his Instagram career more than he is his football career. Dude, quit your little TikTok crap. Quit your little dancing on the logos and stuff, man. Why don't you catch a ball every once in a while and do your team some good, man?
That's not
career. Your football career means more than your TikTok stuff, man. Come on, let's be real.
Yeah. It's you're in Pittsburgh. You a winner is going to get more respect from the town than someone with 8 million Instagram followers.
Yeah, well, not today, man. It just seems like today's world is all about the gram. But anyway, now they're playing the Cowboys. Cowboys, obviously, quote unquote, America's team. I don't know what the only part of America's team that is really it's Texas. Who cares about the Cowboys? But I don't care about the Cowboys, but a lot of people do. Dude. Their team was in shambles last year. Their defense was the worst, basically, the NFL's ever seen, including the old Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was god-awful. They decided, they're going to keep Dak Prescott. They got rid of Andy Dalton to the Bears. They brought in some stronger draft picks. They didn't shore up their line that they wanted to. They got some defensive players. They were hurt a ton last year. But now, man, Dak's back at the helm. He's healthy. Can he repeat? Dude, he was on pace for 6,500 throwing yards last year, man. That's incredible.
I was listening to somebody talking about this today in the NFC East and how competitive it could be. And man, from my younger days, the NFC East, man, that was appointment TV. Watching a Dallas Giants game. I'd love for the NFC East to be good, to be competitive, and you're going to have a good competitive Dallas team. That defense is not going to be able to give up 30 a week in hope that they're going to compete to win the NFC East. I'd take any team to win it. But now I don't. I'm not a Dallas fan per se either, but I want good players to play good. I want to have, I want the games to be good because, here in the Washington area, if it's not a Washington game that's on, then it's another NFC East game. If your 4:00 Fox game is going to be Dallas and Philadelphia. If it's not Sunday or Monday night, right. I want them to be good games.
Yeah, I do too, man. Look, the NFL, like we were talking about, man. When NHL's the major markets, the NFL is better when these guys are doing better. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but you know what? The NFL is definitely in better hands than seeing like the Chargers or somebody else make it. But Cowboys, it's going to be a very interesting year. I think they go. There's 17 games this year, man. I think at best, man, they're probably going to go like 9-8. It's going to be one of those kind of 50-50 years.
9-8 to me too. So, yeah. But the whole NFC East could be 9-8.
Washington won with what? 7 games?
They won 7. I think that they were they 7-8-1.
7-9, right?
Well, I think they had a tie last year.
Maybe they were. Yeah, maybe it was 7-8-1.
7-8-1.
Yeah, and I think they won the East, which is pathetic.
Yeah.
It's pathetic.
But with Washington and I've really avoided sports talk over multiple reasons we're not going to get into here. But Taylor Heineke, man, love him. And if they named him the starter today, I'm going to be sitting there for game one watching Washington. I love the kid. When it came out, right after the playoffs last year, that the team loved playing for him and playing with him, and that's who the team wanted them to give the quarterback job to. He's not terrible. Your best quarterbacks aren't always drafted number one.
Well, I said this, man. Look, man, here's the deal, dude. Like, Andy Dalton got Dak Prescott paid. Andy Dalton got him paid. Look, your backup quarterback was horrific. Okay, that means to show you that Dak Prescott has some talent, with him. And I mean, look, man, he's a good kid. He's a good kid. He's a great face of the franchise. Heck of a talent, man. Just protect the kid, man. Protect him.
Yeah, and in Washington, I'm not the biggest Washington fan either, but if you live in the Washington area, you should root for the Washington football team. Terrible to say, name. You should root for them to win, because after a Redskins win, traffic is always better on Monday than after a Redskins loss.
Yes, exactly. Instead of waiting 4 hours in traffic, it's 2.
But Fitzpatrick, he's not the answer. He's not going to start 17 games for Washington. Heineke's going to end up in there, and if he has the same respect from the players that he had last year, he played great. He played great against Tampa Bay in the playoffs.
Well, let's go through this NFC East while we're talking about it, man. I mean, Washington won last year. Obviously, they have a quarterback change, and I think you're right. I think Heineke winds up taking the job, man. I don't know, man. Their defense is what's going to make them win games, man. Yeah. Chase Young is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You put him with Montez Sweat on the bookends there, dude. I mean, and they're strong line Ioannidis on the defensive end. They have dude, their defensive line is probably the best in the NFL. Their defensive backfield is, I would say, probably maybe average in the NFL, but if the quarterback doesn't have time to throw, who cares? I mean, it gives opportunity for these DBs. You don't need a great defensive backfield to have when you have a strong defensive line like that. You know what I mean?
That young Washington defensive line now has a year more of experience and a year more of training camp and another year in a stable environment with the same coach. I liked the defense last year, and that's definitely a defense that could be, it probably will be better this year. And if that defense is better, that defense could take 3 games for you. That's the difference. That defense is the difference between 7-10 and 10-7.
I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to have a fun year with this team. McLaurin is a wonderful receiver. But I mean, can the offensive line hold up? They got rid of Morgan Moses. They obviously have Brian Sheriff as guard. Their tackles are suspect. They lost Trent Williams to the San Francisco 49ers. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's a gunslinger. He's going to throw a bunch of interceptions, and there's no doubt about it. Ron Rivera will not allow Ryan Fitzpatrick just to be a gunslinger, man. Ron Rivera cherishes that ball. And he knows what a turnovers do to a team. He cannot continue to have his defense bail him out and put all the pressure on the defense. The defense has definitely gotten younger. Last year, they got kind of gassed a little bit, being an older defense, but they got rid of a lot of the older players, like Ryan Carnigan or Canigan or whatever his name is.
Kerrigan.
Ryan Kerrigan. He's gone. They just re-signed, or John Anderson's gone. They just re-signed another the Alabama nose tackle that they had. So their defense is looking young. They're looking strong, but Ryan Fitzpatrick's got to protect the ball. But like I said, man, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick starts being this gunslinger, throwing a bunch of interceptions and stuff, man. Heineke's going to come in, and dude, this guy's from Old Dominion University, came into the playoffs. Almost beat Tom Brady, dude. Almost by himself.
I mean, you could go and look at the score of that Washington Tampa game last year. I think Tampa wins by 8, 9, 10, something like that. She's like, well, that's not a close game. That game was a lot closer, and it was all because of Heineke. And that team loved playing for him. He would put up. Wouldn't make a bad throw. He would make a decent throw, and the guys putting that extra little bit of effort in for Heineke.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Yeah, I agree. Well, then you have the Eagles, man.
Give me a hungry player over a talented player. So remember, Ryan Leaf was drafted number 1 overall, right?
Yes.
Yes,
over Peyton Manning. Over Peyton Manning.
Yeah. Where was Tom Brady drafted? What position?
He was what, 2? Was it 7th round? What was his number? 208?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and tell me that I'm not. I don't want to debate greatest. One of the greatest. And he's not a number 1 pick. You put too much thought into this. We got to get the guy. We can't miss on him. No, you can get a guy in round 5, round 6. You just have to build him, and that's what I see in Heineke. You can build the kid. You can make him into what you want him to be.
Correct. Well, Eagles, talk about a dumpster fire. They win the Super Bowl a couple years ago. They got rid of Doug Peterson, brought in this guy by the name of Nick Sirianni. Now, have you ever heard of this guy, dude? He's a young dude, man.
I know he has something that got him the job, but I can't remember it specifically. We don't get as much Philly coverage, here in the Washington area. But again, that's Philly's not a bad team, and when you're going to have 4 teams in a division that are fairly evenly matched up, you can't think that you're going to beat Philly twice. Every other team should think we're going to split with Philly. And so that gives everybody a chance. It's what can you go do outside of the East then?
Yeah, Nick Sirianni came from the Colts, man. He was one of the offensive coordinators from the Colts, and he's coming under the Frank Reich, coaching staff. Was also part of the Kansas City coaching staff, but he's going to lead these Eagles now. And again, the Eagles had so many different holes, and the injuries were just mounting up. Yeah. Obviously they get rid of Carson Wentz. Jalen Hurts is going to be their quarterback, man.
I'm just talking down, your high draft picks, but he's one that I like.
Yeah,
I can, he's got the
I like him. I like Jalen Hurts. I really do. Yeah. I mean, this kid, obviously went to Alabama. Things happened at Alabama. Didn't like it. Transferred over to Oklahoma. Had a heck of a career at Oklahoma, and then entered the draft. Eagles picked him up. I think it was the 2nd or 3rd round is when actually it might have been the 3rd round they picked him up. Carson Wentz gets hurt, can't stay on the field. Jalen Hurts gets his start, and lo and behold, he's got the keys to Philadelphia. Now, again, I think Jalen, they're trying to. I hope to God, the coach here, Sirianni, does not try to turn him into a Michael Vick or anything like that, man, and get this kid killed. Yeah. And this run and gun West Coast offense bull crap that they were trying to, spread the ball out, and then you have a free shot at the quarterback and all that other stuff, man. Look, Eagles, they need to get back to, winning in the trenches, running the freaking football, using their tight ends, that they have amazing tight ends. They've always had amazing tight ends. Play the dink and dunk game and let your defense win these freaking football games for you. That is the NFC way of doing things, man. Not this West Coast, spread,
42 to 40 games. Yeah.
Dude, they're not going to win that.
No. Yeah, it's your NFC East games are your, they're 17 games, and some of the best games you'll ever see in your life. But the NFL it's a passing league, and so
it is.
If you can win 17 to 10 in the NFC East, well, that's great. Now you got to go play Brady, and then next week you're playing the Titans. How you gonna counter these teams? The 4-team division we kind of changed that. It's you have to look more of where you're going to play, and I think that's what brought the passing game into being a passing centric league.
Yeah,
not that you can't touch a quarterback thing.
Well, that's the problem, man. That's the problem. The NFL rules made it to a passing league. I mean, this, you can't harm the quarterback crap. You can't, you touch them, you get flagged. I mean, these defensive guys, I would hate to play defense in the NFL right now, man, because you can't do anything. You touch a wide receiver off the line, 5 yards or not, you're called for holding. But the wide receiver can punch you right in your face off the line, and then take you deep, and the next thing you know, you got quote unquote burnt. Yeah. So I mean, the rules have definitely geared towards the offense in the NFL. I'm not a fan of that, man. I love defense. I love defense, man. You know what I mean? I'm a defensive guy.
Fan of it, but is everybody else a fan of it? Yes. Scoring, scoring has gone up. The touchdowns, the celebrations, these kind of things. That you can make it a YouTube highlight clip.
Yeah.
And the kids are watching, and they're going to watch again next week.
Yeah.
And it's scoring wins. As we talked about the home run the home run derby in the 90s.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the Madden age, dude. I mean, these kids play Madden all day long. They're putting up 80 points on their Madden game. They want to see that in real life. You know what I mean? So next team is New York Giants, man. New York Giants, Coach Joe Judge. We had a story the other couple days ago. We were talking about Kelvin Benjamin, the wide receiver, literally ate himself out of the NFL. Came to training camp, 268 pounds as a wide receiver. He's gone. Daniel Jones, I don't think has really proven his worth in terms of draft picks so far. Saquon Barkley had a hamstring injury last year. He was knocked out for the rest of the year. The kid's amazing, but dude, you cannot win football games nowadays by just your running back. And you got to have a balanced offense. And, now the wide receiver core for the Giants are looking pretty stout, dude.
Yeah, and it's not just the receivers. You take a Barkley, get him the ball. When he's just outside the line there, with a couple blocks coming, and get those quick running backs into space, and a quick little 3-yard pass turns into 17 from a guy like that, and It's cool, again. Let the stars be the stars. I want to see the best players do the best things, and I like it. In him getting hurt last year, I think the NFC is different. If Barkley doesn't go, or NFC East is different last year. If Barkley doesn't go down, he's healthy all year this year. Giants are going to be.
Giants are going to be pretty daggone good, man. Let me give you their rundown on the wide receiver core that they've got now. They've got Kenny Galladay. Remember, he came from Detroit.
Yep.
Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, which I like. John Ross came from the Cincinnati Bengals. Mm-hmm. You got Evan Ingram as their tight end, and Kyle Rudolph came over from Minnesota Vikings. Good tight ends. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can Jones get him the ball?
Well, that's it. That's the problem. But here's the problem. Here's your issue with them is the offensive tackle, the offensive line. Nate Soldier, which obviously came from the New England Patriots, had a terrible year last year, by the way. Mm-hmm. Andrew Thomas on the other side. Will Hernandez, who was a first-round draft pick 3 years ago, has not panned out to be that draft pick whatsoever. Shane Lemieux and Kenny Wiggins are your offensive linemen, man. And dude, it's just not getting it, not getting it done. And I just don't know, man. They did sign a guy, Nick Gates. They had Nick Gates there as the center, but dude, that offensive line was one of the worst in the NFL, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
And I think that Jones is going to have his line play better in front of him. To have a better year. He's going to need that time. He's not one of your more mobile quarterbacks, which I like. I was singing Manning's praises, and Manning probably didn't take 10 steps outside of the offensive box his entire career. but he had a line. Is the Giants line going to give them time? Can you use Barkley and quick hitters with Barkley or give the ball to Barkley to the play action? Where's the play action pass gone? That's what can fill a hole for a poor to mediocre offensive line is some stuff like that.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, your quarterback is never good when he's on his back, man. So, as I said, Washington, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants. That's the NFC East, man. That's going to be pretty interesting to watch. I'm going to still pick Washington to win it, man. I think Ron Rivera, just from the coach's standpoint, can outcoach any of these coaches in the NFC East, hands down. I think he's the best coach in that division, and with his defense, I think Washington actually goes not to the Super Bowl, goes to the playoffs, loses the first round of playoffs, and we'll see what happens, man. But defense wins championships, man. That's still the moniker.
It is, and even in this offensive centric league, it still holds true. I wanted to think and say, hey, I'm gonna pick somebody different just to be different, but it's not. We're not talking about a great Washington team, but I like the Washington team better than I like Dallas. I like Washington's defense more than I like the Dallas defense. So I get it, and that's what it's going to be. And you have two great Washington Dallas games this season, which are two of those ones to mark on the calendar every year. Washington Dallas. I'll watch them every year.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Well, bro, that's going to end that's going to end the show tonight, man. That is it, dude. Thanks for coming on, man. It's great to freaking see you, man. It's been a long time.
Great to get to see you and get to do it, man. This is we've done this forever, and we'll keep doing it as long as we're both on this side of the dirt, man.
Absolutely, man. I absolutely love it.
Thanks for having me on. Anytime. I'm here to help you out for anything you need, buddy.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I mean, when we come back, next week, man, we're gonna have some football to talk about, some actual football plays to talk about. We'll kind of go into the Hall of Fame game, see what's going on there. I'm sure we're gonna have a ton of NFL news, some baseball news, and all that good stuff, man. But you guys come back. That's it for tonight, y'all. Take care. Have a great one. See ya.